Why I am playing this poem right now, Chirendo Champapuri by Vendaboy Poet. But it is because he's joining me in studio right now. It is the Vendaboy Poet, and he is not just any poet. He is a South African Traditional Music Award winner for Best Praise Singer. And I can definitely tell you that we do not have a lot of those kind of winners, right? So it is exciting to really have him joining me in studio today to learn a little bit more about him, the work that he does, and for you as well, if you're listening, to see if you can ever find yourself in a space and a caliber such as this one. Hello, Vendaboy Poet. How are you doing?
Vendaboy putting a rain. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining in. So is that how you open every single time? Wherever you are, when people introduce you, call your name, that's how you respond?
Yes, that's how I respond. That's my intro.
Yeah. Now there's some people who are listening who maybe they've heard this man who was doing a poem right now, but they've never actually known your story, who you are, where you come from, how you ended up where you are. So could you please just let us into who exactly is Vendaboy Poet?
Vendaboy Poet in Tangawa Nepayani. I was born in Tabarara, Manyima, in a place called Manyima. And then I moved to Sukmekar, and then that's where I able to learn Chipedi, moving from Venda and Chipedi, and then that's why I able to learn this different language in Sukmekar. And then after that, I started to do poetry in 2008 when I was in matric, when I was doing my oral. That's why I had to start my poems Tanga. And then from there, 2012, that's why I released my first album, which is called Maano, that won Best Shima Award, Best Venda Music Awards for the first time, and I worked Nawo, Masana Records, Manisa Records, different people around me, and also different artists that were Venda. So yeah, that's my journey from there.
And I can already see it's like you are a multi-award winning praise singer. What do you call it? A praise poet, a praise singer, because you do a bit of both. But let's start on, when did you realize that praising was your thing, that you were born to give praise poems?
Those realize mostly in the class for the first time when I was in the class, and then I had to release and make kagarangi, and then we have to voice young, the articulation, the fluent language, like this person is very confident of what he's saying. So the independent gonna realize that no man, I'm a poet. And other thing, when times goes on, I had to realize that, you know what, this is not just only a poet, a poetry as such. So Zivazu Kamboromini, and I'm a prophet, I'm the Roman Murabedi. You can mention all those things because I had to realize I'm not only a praise poet, I'm not only just a praise singer, but I'm a social commentator who takes the views and the inspiration of people, where I concise and precise in a poetic phrases and communicate them across my poem. I define my poem spontaneously, and it carries a lot of spiritual emotion. So in that manner, I do not predetermine what will I say, because I'm the voice to the voiceless and the mouthpiece of the ancestors and the nation as such.
Listen to you already. We're already being given some pieces from some of your greatest work. Hey?
Yeah.
Okay, that really is amazing. But I think also your writing, where does the writing come from? What inspires you to be able to put the words that you put together, to put the praises that you put together, the prophecy that you put together, the prayers that you put together when you do your work? What inspires you to put all that together?
I think the inspiration comes from the challenge that I meet each and every day, things that I see each and every day. And it also goes with my spirit, the connection. As I said, I'm the voice of the voiceless, the mouthpiece of the ancestors and the nation and God himself. So there is something that is always feeding me, feeding my spirit, so that every time when I need to recite, I can speak of those things. But obviously the important thing is to line the dialects of your different tribes and all these tribes of Diwori, Vandalamu, Masingo, Ngotorang, News Diva, Zula, Nichibos Diva, Zita or Kaini Musinich Korenda, Zivazona Ruori, ndi tshi khou renda nga dzinḓou ni a ḓivha uri nḓou ndi dzifhio, ndi tshi khou renda nga vhakwevho ni a ḓivha uri vhakwevho ndi maguluvhe malwane aliwo ndi ngotoro. So I had to learn those things and write those things and practice those things, make a research about Venda, and make a research about who we are as an African, because I believe I'm a poet that will always recite or renew kana uvusuludza bufa ashuna mvelele yashu chifhinga chote. Yes.
And where is the source of what you're learning about the different dialects, learning about the different tribes, learning about the different families? Where exactly are you reading about it? Is it on the internet? Are there certain books? Did you do your research? Like, I want to understand where exactly that is coming from, because I think there are a lot of people who would like to find themselves in spaces that you've been in, you know, because they feel that they've got the burning passion to be able to do that, but they don't even know.
So I think it's different fraternity where I do my research. Also, I go literally cover to Bakari. And Masingo guy. And other thing, I become fortunate that sometimes I've been invited to Carl or render the royal family, or else they will give me a poem in a royal family, and they explain to me what is happening. And then sometimes I had to read, and even on the internet now it's already there. You can find, if you can just Google number you can know the research, you can know. So now kutamba champapuri ndiva ndichikodiwa zvino uchikofi ndiva achiri mumndondo niva javu bva kumedza mundondo uchiwakani all those things. So I know now uri zvimina uri mini ndiva ndikokona kupfesesa tinyani chinoni chotinya ulimbo dzata madhukulu asarobata mapeso. I know uri zvikobva gai and wait mini, because it's a story that I was told after reciting, after render the poem. So I had to learn and audible professors. You know, sometimes if anybody anabruba mtani wa mpapuri, I know chirendo cha mpapuri chote choperera, and rich kwamba ngabo makwarela, rich kwamba ngabo atubopambana nao bothe bane bore ba wela kha bosi ya mpapuri re ba tshiko kono diba, because later research. Yes.
And please tell me here, because when it comes to giving praises to families, especially royal families, you need to be very careful about what you say, because those are like the highest thrones, right?
Yes.
Have you not found yourself niko amba zitujene vazijia unga niko semana?
Yo, that challenge, I found myself and I had to mute myself, and after muting myself they got angry with me to say you are supposed to say those things. You know, it's very difficult. You know, I think it's very famous kamanda sesa ngori bango badiwa khodangacho. So china matamba ngangom and baba chikufuna zvezo zvizilano uri zviamba all those things. So you know, it was so difficult for me already the one, but because ndimurumwa, you know, I just need to deliver the message how it is. So remember, when we recite, when we started to utter our words, when we speak, whenever those words that we've been given to recite, it's not us, but it's the Spirit that was telling us. And once we recite, once we spew those words out, so which means we are acknowledging the person who wrote it, and we are acknowledging the person who meant it about that signing. Remember, yes. So remember, when we speak of urendi, ngacho, zvambori urendi ndi chimwe chintu chana buri musi nichitotoma uwamba. Niva ndikuvusurudza mvelele na ufa na ndabuko ya enacho chifani. Niva ndikuvusurudza mangeloyi ahonoyo ahono rushaka. So that's why it's so much important to mention each and every word that is being given. Yes. Yeah.
Yo, I think we can talk about that all day, because I think what is important for a lot of people, we don't know where we come from. You know, when, like I said for myself, that guy, and I think for a lot of people as well, they really do question themselves. Where exactly are they from? What exactly do they stand for? So we really can unpack that all day. But you found yourself in certain spaces that not a lot of people have found themselves in. Like you said, Bampapuri, you are their praiser. You know, you find yourself in places where presidents are, and those are not the only spaces where you've been where you were the first to do it and still are the only one to do it. Now, is there anything that you are doing to be able to empower other people so that they can walk on the same path that you've walked on, so that they can find themselves where you are today and even much greater and better than where you are?
I've developed a lot of young poets that most of them, they also even went to parliament. One of them, they also won different awards as such. So I had a space, especially a group and WhatsApp, whenever I used to communicate with young poets, and I would work with the developer and I've got a lot of young poets that were coming that to so wish that to say, Vendaboy, we trust in you, please help us here and here. Is that I'm not specifically Kamapungo or good not publishing books. I'm not that person. I am a priest. I will teach you how to articulate. I will teach you how to stand on the stage, in front of the mic, and able to speak and spew out your words. That's how I can able to say, I can teach you, because I think that's where my platform is. Because I realized myself that I'm not a writer, but I'm a praise poet, a praise singer, or else sometimes I do not need to write, but I can recite without writing. Yeah, so a platform, there's a lot of young poets that were coming, and I so wish that the Nande Pabadoshika Bawanachikara, and they can mention to say reproductive Vendaboy Poet.
And are you open to more people reaching out to you so that you can also help them to develop the skill the way that you have been able to develop yours as well?
Yes, I'm open, but it's very challenging, especially in and we all understand the the drama, the number of and all the stuff, and although bana ambition but it's very much difficult, because wana zviambombo zvinji musi nichikotusa muthu anonga mamufumakazi asifane na wamuna, because wamuna wakona kukonderera, wakona kutangana na nyimele dzanavuranga, because rine rodi alusa, like there is not anyone who said oh, teacher Vendaboy uitavurendi. It was only me that would teach myself. So I understand this industry. It's not easy, it's very difficult. And but for Fumaga somehow they are soft, they are very soft, and although but we try with all our power.
Okay, I think in closing we can talk about your South African Traditional Music Award Best Praise Singer nomination and submission, right? Which was the Chirendo Chamakadzi. So let's talk about that. What made you write Chirendo Chamakadzi, and who is Makadzi? Well, Makadzi nga Chivenda di Makadzi, right? So the first song di Makadzi muimbi kana Makadzi wa Chivenda na.
Di Makadzi muimbi. Although I don't know the minute to Makadzi, but I think the spirit has already told me, because once I recited that poem, it really opens everyone to realize who's Makadzi. But then things that makes me to write about Chirendo Chamakadzi, I met her on Facebook, and I was not even sure, and then she was live, and I went live also, and then she accepted live, and then Rabari Kotoma said, you're doing great and all this stuff, but it was just a simple conversation, and she said, yeah, I'll go to the and I said,